Hi, I'm Jeannie and I'm here today from Jimmy Bean's Wool, and I am holding up my little Lucet, Lucet. It is a wonderful wood little cord maker, and I'm going to teach you how to use it. It's quite simple. You can see I have cord on here, but what I'm going to do is take this off and show you how to actually put that on. These are some of the cords that I've made with them. This is a super bulky, and then here's some sock weight yarn. Oh, there we go, sock weight, super bulky. You can see that it's a braided style of cord. In researching the product, this little tool, it is really ancient. It has been around for a long time, and you can make rope, all kinds of fun stuff. What I have been doing with my little cords is making these fun little bracelets. And you just add a couple buttons, you tie in your end loop, and there you go. You have a fun little bracelet. You can show off your buttons. I mean, you can use them for bag ties, bag drawstrings, PJ drawstrings. I am going to make one of these big bulky ones for my cowboy hat. I'm kind of notorious for my cowboy hat around here, and it needs a new headband. Oh, look, you could do a headband. I mean, the possibilities are endless. So what I'm going to do today is try and teach you how to use your Lucet. So I'm going to take this. You can see this one I have with my cord already going. And it's very easy to change out. So I'm going to take this one out carefully and just set it down the way it is. And I'm going to show you now how to begin. Now, it comes with wonderful instructions. They're printed photographs, really nice instructions. So if you're very literal and read it step by step, it goes all the way through doing a whole section of cord. So you can see I have some nice smooth yarn. So far I've found that smooth yarn seems to work the best. I have played around with textural yarns. It's a little more challenging, so get used to your Lucet, before you really start experimenting. Be sure you know what you're doing. But you see I have the Wool Tree Mills logo out here. These are who supply us with our Lucets. And I am going to take my yarn and I'm going to thread it through the hole. Maybe just like this, just through the hole, and I'm going to give myself, 4 or 5 inches, kind of hanging down. And now I'm going to go ahead and thread the Lucet, this portion up here, these little forks, to get going making my cord. And you want to come around from I don't know, what side is that on the camera? You come around the right side when you're looking down at the Lucet, around from the back, from your hole in the back. Just bring your yarn around, or thread or string or whatever you're going to use. Then you come back around almost in a figure 8, but you don't quite finish off that figure 8. You're going to go across this arm of your Lucet, and you notice I'm getting out of frame, sorry guys. You notice that I do tension it. I tension it very similar to the way I knit. It took me a little bit to figure that out, but it's very helpful. This little tool is definitely all about tension. So I'll show you again. You thread your hole just like this. I've got it through my hole, 4 or 5 inches out, so you have something to grab. You come around from the right side of the Lucet when you're looking down upon it, and make a figure 8, but don't finish that figure 8. So you come around the left and you go across. Now this is where the tensioning, or lack thereof, really, and this first one tends to seem like it's a little loose, but now you're going to take this strand that's below this crossover on this leg of the tool, or arm of the tool, and just flop it over. Now you always turn to your left, always. I have noticed that if you kind of take your yarn and go to the back and give it a little tug, it helps to snug up that, I don't want to call it stitch or whatever it is. You also notice that this tail is now at the back of your work. So you're going to make a 180 and turn it to your left always. And just kind of hold on to that. You do the same thing. Take that bottom yarn that's underneath here, flip it over, boop, just like this, and flip it to the left. Kind of snug it carefully like this. You don't want it to be too tight because it really makes it very difficult as you go along. But you'll get your rhythm, okay? You flip this up and over, blop, and turn to your left. And see, I just kind of snug it up. I've also learned that you can snug it up like this, going to the left, and it gives you plenty of slack here on this Lucet portion, this arm. And you just continue on in this manner. Whoops. Up, look, I fell off. Not a problem. Just take your yarn, make sure it's going in the right direction. You want to make sure it's flat, or, you know, you don't want it crossed because it will make it harder to pull that into the stitch or the knot. It's really a series of knots you're making. And you go back over, turn to the left, 180, snug it, slip this just over a little bit. Now I'm starting to get a little bit of cord going. Over, cross over, take the bottom piece of yarn or string, and because I want it to work and show you, it doesn't want to, and I see that I'm putting my hand in front, but I think you get it. So you're taking this, slipping it over, and I'm very right-handed, so there's just no way I can get my hand out of the way. But now I have flopped that over, and you snug it up. Okay, and you just kind of continue in this manner. You don't want it super tight, but you do want it consistent. You want the tension of your knots to be consistent. So as I promised when I first started, I'm going to show you how to take it off, and I'll put my other piece back on. If you notice, I'm going to kind of bring it up here, you'll notice that the yarn is always on that left-hand side of your work. So that's how you'll kind of be able to tell. So you could make multiple cords at any time. You can get bored with the yarn, you want to try something, you can set it aside. Just make sure the loops don't get pulled through because it will start to unravel. So you can see that the yarn is coming from the left-hand side. So we're just going to slip that off. See, it's like a little butterfly, and I'm just going to carefully set it down. Oh, and I'm going to grab my other piece. Now note that this piece is, I'm using 2 strands at once. I just grabbed this last night and thought, ooh, what would it look like? I'm using 1 variegated yarn and 1 plain yarn, and I really like the results. So here we are with our little kind of butterfly looking device, knots, and you can see that my yarn, my yarn is coming off to the left. So I want to slip it back onto my Lucet exactly the same way. Very carefully make sure my butterfly wings are flat. I hope you can relate to my butterfly wings. You can take your cord and go through your hole. Doesn't matter if it's front or back. Okay, and now I can see that my yarn is now coming from the left. I've already snugged up my knot, so I'm just going to bring that over the top of the yarn, flip that over, and continue on. I have also learned, for me personally, it kind of helps once I get a little bit of cord made to just hold it here and then snug it. Makes me go a little bit quicker. Now for a quick rundown, whoops, see, and that slips off. It happens all the time. You just kind of loop that over, and it may not happen to you. It could be operator error, and you just slip it. So now let's assume that we're ready to take this off of our work. And do we have scissors? We don't. I didn't think about scissors. I'm so sorry. But you would cut your yarn off, run that bit through here like this. And you're going to do it on the right side. So you're going to make your knot going from left over the right. Oh. And of course it would be much easier if it wasn't tied to the ball. But maybe we can break this. Oh. Anyway, so you pull it through. You take that off of your Lucet, just like that. And you want to reach down and snug it up. And leave this one on the left side. Snug, snug, snug. Okay, now you've knotted that, assuming that we actually pulled this all the way through. You can turn it, you can do whatever. This is our end. We're going to put it through this side. And now you can go ahead and take it off. Snug it up. Like the Wizard of Oz. Ignore the yarn in the back. Ignore the man behind the curtain. And there you go. You have your little Lucet. Your little cord from your Lucet. And let me show you really quickly. Hi, I'm back. What I did was I just took the cord on each end from my bracelet, made a little loop around my buttons, figured out where I wanted my buttons, sewed the buttons on, put the loop around. This actually slips over your wrist, so you don't even have to unbutton it. It is a wonderfully nice stretchy cord, and yet very, very strong with this series of knots. So I encourage you to learn something new today. This is how to make cord with the Lucet. Have a great day. I'm Jeannie from Jimmy Bean's Wool. Thanks for watching. Bye!
Thunder rumbles on this American summer night.